Welcome to your Wednesday Word Now with Miss Emily Ann. We learned the word shalom last week, or possibly a couple weeks before that. I honestly can't remember, but it is a greeting in Hebrew. It's hello, shalom. It literally means peace, which actually becomes really interesting in the New Testament because you'll see Paul always acknowledges the people that he is writing to, grace and peace with you, and that's because he was writing to both Jews and Gentiles. You would say peace to your fellow Jewish brethren, because they were at peace. They were the Lord's chosen people. And you would say grace to Gentiles because they were in need of God's grace. We're all in need of God's grace. So when he would say grace and peace, he would basically be saying hello to both Jews and Gentiles. So shalom is still how the Jewish people greet each other, and you can greet anyone like that in Israel. Shalom. So that's what we're going with. Shalom, kids. Welcome to your Wednesday Word Now, otherwise known as Storytime with Miss Emily Ann. We're going to be picking up Genesis 42 through 43, and we are going to be picking up with Joseph as the second in command to Pharaoh during this big, horrible famine that he predicted that was worldwide and affected everyone, including the brothers that sold him into slavery. So they're going to come and ask if they can have some food because they're hungry. So there's 11 of them, and they're big dudes. It's hungry. All right, so we've got brothers by grain. And there's Joseph, and there's brothers. All right. In Canaan, the famine had hit Joseph's family hard too. Jacob decided to send his sons to buy grain in Egypt. Only Benjamin stayed behind, for Jacob could not bear to lose his youngest son. When they reached Egypt, the brothers bowed down before Joseph with his golden chain and fine clothes. They did not recognize him. But Joseph could see his dreams becoming reality as they bowed their heads low and begged to buy food. You remember a couple of pages ago, but for Joseph, almost 10 years ago, because there were 7 years of famine, and he was in jail for 2 years. So that's 9, and it's probably some other stuff that happened. So if you remember, way back when Joseph was a little guy, he had a dream that his brothers would bow down to him, and they got very mad about it and sold him into slavery, and that's how all that happened. And now they are bowing down to him. His prophecy came true. Summer. Those noises are my dog. Come here, buddy. There we go. Would you like to help read the story? Are you going to help read the story? Okay. So, alright. They bowed their heads low and begged to buy food. Joseph wanted to see if his brothers had changed at all. So, he planned to test their honesty and loyalty. He accused them of being spies, and when they protested their innocence, he agreed to let them go back to Canaan with grain on the condition that they returned with their youngest brother. Jacob did not want to let Benjamin go, but in the end he had to agree. So the brothers returned with more money to pay for the grain, for when they had opened the sacks, they had been horrified to find that the money had been taken with them to Egypt the first time to pay the money that had been... For when they opened the sacks, they had been horrified to find that the money they had taken with them to Egypt the first time to pay for the grain was still in them. So they bought grain from Joseph, and Joseph just gave it to them. He didn't sell it to them, he just gave it to them, so he put their money back in the sacks as well. And the other dog is now jealous of the dog in my lap. Brothers, it's a theme. Well, brothers and sisters. Betty's a girl. Alright. So they get all the way back to Canaan, and they're like, oh my gosh, the money's in the sacks, they're going to think we stole the grain, they're going to be so mad. So that's why they were horrified. Okay. on to this story. The Long Lost Brother, Genesis 44 through 45. Alright. Joseph was so overcome when he saw Benjamin that he had to hide his face, because he was crying. He had his servants feed the brothers, then sent them on their way with more food, but not before hiding a silver cup in Benjamin's sack. The brothers were traveling home when the guards came upon them and dragged them back to the palace. "Thieves!" shouted Joseph. "I treated you with kindness and you repay me by stealing." "There must be some mistake," cried the brothers, but when the guards checked, there was the silver cup in Benjamin's sack. The brothers fell to their knees. "My lord," they cried, "take any one of us, but do not take Benjamin, for his father's heart would break." Sad. At this, Joseph knew that his brothers' hearts were no longer hard, and so he hugged them. Amid much weeping and amazement, he told them that he was their long-lost brother, and they should not feel too guilty, for it had all been part of the Lord's plan. "I was sent to rule in Egypt, so you would not starve in Canaan," he told them, and he sent for his father. It's all of the brothers. And the dog is licking my toe, and it tickles a lot. Okay. Alright, so here is our last story. Alright, before we get into the last story, we should do Hebrew Word of the Week. I know, buddy. You don't like it when I dance. Too bad I'm still dancing. Hebrew Word of the Week. Alright, so our Hebrew Word of the Week this week is going to be just, a common Hebrew greeting, like shalom. So shalom it means peace, but it's used as hello. And this one is, how are you? Manishma. Manishma. Shalom, manishma. Hello, how are you? And it literally means what is heard. So like, what's up? Manishma. So, when Joseph saw his brothers after 10 years, he was probably like, Manishma, what's up? What's happened in the last 10 years since you sold me into slavery? Not so nice. But Joseph was very forgiving, and that was very Christ-like of him. So, we've got Manishma, which is, hello, how are you? Or, Shalom, Manishma is, hello, how are you? Manishma is just, how are you? So, there we go. Now, we've got our last story. Moving to Egypt. This is Genesis 46 through 47. Jacob gathered up all his belongings, his herds, flocks, and his family, and traveled to Egypt. God spoke to him, telling him not to be scared of going to Egypt, for he would lead them out of Egypt. Once again, when the time was right. By now, the members of Jacob's family were 70 in all. So Joseph's brothers got married and had babies, and so Jacob had a lot of grandkids, because he had 12 sons, so. Joseph came to meet his father in a great chariot and led him back to Egypt, where he and his family were well treated and given land in Goshen to tend to their animals. In the meantime, the famine raged, and Joseph was kept busy, but there was still enough food for everyone, although they had to pay Pharaoh, and he became very rich indeed. When the famine was over, they planted seed that Joseph had wisely set aside. So here is Joseph coming back to his family after all of these years, and here is Jacob thinking his son has been dead for 10 years, now realizing not only is he not going to starve to death, is his family not going to starve to death, is his son not dead, but his son is second in command in Egypt. It's a good day. It's a real good day. Alright. So, I'm going to cheat a little bit and do one more Hebrew word of the week, because I want to start saying goodbye to you guys this way. So, it literally means to see each other again. So it's like, see you later. So it's lahitraot, lahitraot, להתראות. 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 So you can say, Shalom, מה נשמע? Hello, how are you? And then you chit-chat a little bit, and then you say, hi, להתראות. And you go. And that means I'll see you later, and I will, because I will see you next week. להתראות.